required for this language, the Khasi language, to be recognized in the 8th schedule?
The language should be spoken in geographically contiguous areas. And when one looks at the map of Meghalaya and even the surrounding areas where Khasi is spoken, that also is fulfilled.
As of now, the government has only recognized as the associate official language, but it needs to be a full-fledged official language.
You see, how did Manipur language included? It's because of the people movement. There is hunger strike technically in front of the Indian kid.
Once it's recognized as an official language, when I walk to Secretariat, I talk in Khasi.
Okay.
The other side has to also understand Khasi.
Hello viewers, and welcome once again to another edition of Let's Talk, a program being the presentation of the Shillong Times group, which takes up pertinent questions that concerns the common man. Today we are once again gathered here to take a very important issue and a very important topic. Well, for quite some time now, the issue of Khasi not being recognized in the 8th schedule of the Constitution has been criticized, has been spoken by many in the society. Well, essentially it means that Khasi needs to be included as one of the major languages of the country. But despite protest, despite so many other things that's going on, well, till date, this language has not been included in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. So today we are asking why it has not happened so far. And some of the pertinent questions we are going to raise today in Let's Talk is why Khasi language has remained unrecognized till today. We are 50 years plus as a state. We are also asking this question, will the language recognition allow students of this community to fare better in competitive examinations, etc.? The question also entails, what does it take for a language to be recognized in the 8th schedule? And over and above that, whose concern should it be now? Because the government has done its bit. Well, there are other people also who have been time and again raising this matter. But so far, nothing has happened. So we are gathered here in the studios of the Shillong Times to talk about this question. Let me quickly go ahead and introduce our guest to you. To my left is Padma Shri, Dr. Badaplin, who is the former Professor Department of Khasi from the Northeastern Hill University, and she is also the member of the Khasi Authors Society. We are also being joined by Dr. Sylvanus Lamare, who is the former principal of St. Edmund's College, Shillong, member of the Khasi Author Society, and also the former member of the Sahitya Academy. We are also being joined by Raphael, the Chief Executive Director of Richness Academy, and we also have Robertjune, Kharjahrin, who is an advocate and a social activist. A very hearty welcome to each one of you to this program today. And the question that we have taken up today is why Khasi language has remained unrecognized. So I'll come to Dr. Sylvanus Lamare right away. Sir, as we set the ball rolling in this discussion, the most obvious question that comes to my mind is, why is it required for this language, the Khasi language, to be recognized in the 8th schedule?
See, the Article 345 of the Indian Constitution clearly states that any language can be recognized in the 8th schedule, provided it fulfills certain conditions.
Right.
And that condition, the Khasi language has, for many years, has tried to fulfill that. And I'll go by history. By history, we can say that Khasi language as a medium of instruction up to class 6 way back in 1902.
Right.
Then after that, as a subject in the honors level from 1973 onwards. And 1981 as at the MA level when the Khasi department was started at NEHU. Then MPhil 1986. Then after that, PhD, and today you can even write your PhD in Khasi.
Right.
That is the thing. Then in All India Radio from 1946 onwards, we have program in Khasi. So for such a language which has got so many positive steps have been taken, we wonder why it is not being recognized in the 8th schedule. Why some other language which doesn't have the criteria that exactly are being recognized. So this is the issue that we are taking up, and thanks to the Khasi Author Society, that this issue was kept alive for many years.
Absolutely. I come to Dr. Badaplin here. Ma'am, what is your take on it? Should a language, a state which is 52 years old now, isn't it time for a language of the state which is spoken by the majority of the population to get the due recognition?
Thank you for the question. I think just to put it in context, I would like to just mention a few things regarding this point. First of all, we have different categories of languages in the country. We do not have a national language. We want to make that very clear. There's no national language in the country. But we do have official languages.
Right.
And we also have scheduled and non-scheduled languages in the country. Now, when we talk about official languages and scheduled languages, again here we have to make a very clear distinction. A language can be an official language, but it need not necessarily be a scheduled language, as is the case of English. English is not included under the 8th schedule. Yet it is still the official language even of the Union. And we also have, even at the state level, we have the case of Mizoram, where Mizo is the official language of the state, and English and Hindi are the second official languages of the state. So let us be very clear about this. Now, regarding the point of scheduled and non-scheduled languages, also there is a very clear distinction. As the provision of the constitution of the country, Dr. Sylvanus just now has mentioned, it is very clear, and the Ministry of Home Affairs, if I can just add a few more points from what Dr. Lamare has said just now, the Ministry of Home Affairs had already laid down certain criteria. Besides what Dr. Lamare has said, there are also other issues, other points as well. One being the population. Now, in the criteria that was laid down by the Ministry of Home Affairs, the requirement is 500,000 or 5 lakhs.
Right.
And as per the 2011 census of India, I think it's almost triple that. It's 14 plus lakhs. So that one criteria is fulfilled.
Right.
And then you think another one very important point that the Ministry of Home Affairs had already asked from the state government, and that is with regard to the written language, the history of the written language. It has to at least have 150 years in its journey as a written language. And when we come to Khasi language now, it's more than 182 years, I think now, that it is it has journeyed it has taken a very long journey. And as we can see from the quality of the publications, in different subjects, in different fields, in different disciplines, and for a very, very long time, since the 19th century till date. And again, another one very important point is that the language should be spoken in geographically contiguous areas. And when one looks at the map of Meghalaya and even the surrounding areas where Khasi is spoken, that also is fulfilled.
Okay.
And another very important point is about the tradition, the literary tradition. And literary tradition, oral traditions of the Khasi is very, very rich. We have, folk drama, we have stories, we have poetic forms and things like that, which have been documented.
Right.
And besides that, of course, we have so many other things also, cultural practices and social practices and all kinds of different facets of social life of the people. All these have been documented from the 19th century, 20th century, even 30th.
Okay. So
I
according to you,
I
yes.
cannot hear what
Right.
Tom has said. I think Khasi language is perhaps the only tribal language which has got a grammar of Khasi and dictionary of Khasi in German.
Okay.
And that's so written in 1858
Okay.
by H.C. von der Gavalens. Okay. Then we have Khasi Hebrew dictionary, Khasi Aramaic dictionary, Khasi Greek dictionary. We also have the grammar in French. We have also Khasi grammar in Spanish. So where do you find a language like this? Even the major language, the scheduled language in India, many of these languages, they don't have this thing. So
Yeah, so I just bring in Raphael here. Raphael, you're also actively involved in so many associations, including the Khasi Authors Society also. Last time when the Chief Minister of the state was putting it in the floor of the assembly, he made a pertinent message here saying that the recognition of the language is not the recognition of the language alone, but also that the government recognize the identity of the people, all the people of the country. Do you look at this also in that point?
Yeah, definitely it is. Because, one thing, as of now, the government has only recognized as the associate official language, but it needs to be a full-fledged official language. This is one thing which is, I think, one of the hindrances that has to be looked after.
Okay.
Yeah, so apart from that, like what earlier panels have already declared, we have surpassed. Khasi language has surpassed many
All the criteria.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
All
like Lamare has said, that even besides the periphery of the official, there are so many distinctions about Khasi language, which I mean it has all the deserving criteria that to be recognized. So I don't know, but at the same time, I must also say that we need to introspect also.
Okay.
Because there could be some,
Yes, we will be coming to that
To that,
point
yeah.
a little bit. I just want to bring in to you.
If I can just button with what
Yeah.
he has, what Raphael has said just now. Yes, the language now has been upgraded to the status of associate official language. Now, when we talk about a language, when we talk about the language and you want to develop that language, you have to look at it in terms of its status as well as its purpose.
Okay.
So both, status development as well as purpose development have to be taken hand in hand.
Okay.
And just one more point, when we talk about the Associate Official Language Act, we see that it is very restricted in the domains. Hardly any leeway is given for the people to make full use of the language. And actually, the Khasi Auto Society, at one point, we had gone to meet the Chief Minister, that was last year, I think, after we came back from
October.
Yes, after we came back from there, where we had gone to meet him and ask him to consider, making Khasi language and Garo language, of course, as official languages of the state. Upgrade, the status of the language not only as an associate official language, but also
As an official language.
as one of the official languages
Okay.
of the state.
Point well taken. I need to bring in, Mr. Kharjahrin also here. There are certain quarters who say that we already are under the 6th schedule of the Constitution. So, and under the 6th schedule, our language, our culture, heritage, everything is actually protected. So, why do we actually need another recognition, especially the 8th schedule, you feel?
I think if 8th schedule and 6th schedule are one single component, why do we need two schedule already? Because these are two different things.
Okay.
If you see the 6th schedule, it's linked to different article, and the 8th schedule, as Sir Solid stated, it linked to a different article. The objective, when it comes to the language, is about improvement of the language, not only preservation, also development of the languages. This is two different things. And there's no doubt culture, tradition are part of the identity of a human being. The languages is one of the important identity that even as a 6th scheduled institution also need to take forward. I've been a privilege for me to have been a legal advisor of the KHDC for 6 years. And during my daily at that point of time, we try to find means and way how to improve the Khasi language. We started giving order in Khasi languages because it's very easy for the people, and sometimes also we find difficult to translate especially the words into English. Some are very difficult. If we could translate also, the meaning may a bit change. So that's why we're starting to do it. If you look at how this council is functioning, the bill, the motion, the resolution, everything will be in English. But when they debate, they take part in Khasi, and when they are recording, when it comes to in official form, they have to do it in English. So at the same time, look at how the judiciary now is functioning. Before, when you record the statement of suppose of anybody in the court of law under one CRPC 164, what they do is that they recorded in English, the language of the court. Now what they do is that they recorded in the language of that particular person who gave the statement and then retranslate. So these are the things that even from the judiciary now, the High Court now is translating order and judgment of the court in Khasi and Garo language. So we are moving ahead. I think as a state, as the government, as the judiciary, as the people, as the district council, we have done our part, to raise into standard. But I do feel it's not good enough. We still have to do. I fully support the demand of the Khasi Author Society, which stated that to raise the Khasi languages into official language. The moment we do that, I will give you example. Look at Khasi Hill. The bill is introduced in English, but when they participate, they do it in Hindi. Or they do it in Khasi. So why don't we why don't we do that in assembly also? If there is no harm in Khasi Hill, they have do it for the past 72 years. So what is the big deal?
So you mean to say we need to practice what we are preaching?
No, the moment we raise the Khasi language into a fully fledged official language, we can do that in exam.
Right, that's what.
So in Garo Hill, bill will be introduced in English, will be written in English, but when they debate, when they participate, they do it in Garo.
Yeah.
So I see as one of the things that we can do it. And you look in any other court in the rest of the country, they even argue in Hindi also. And some other will pass in Hindi. So why don't we do it? Let's start maybe from the subordinate court in this council and thing like that.
Okay.
So yes, we have done something good from this council, from the state government, have do the Khasi authors have do. But I do feel that there is more need to be done in order to get the status of the HEU.
Yeah. So now let's come again, because again there are people who may say or who say that, of course you have argued that Khasi has fulfilled all the criteria. But my question is this: where is the standardization of spellings? Because there are so many different Khasi words that are written in different spellings. Is there a standardization in spellings? We have still very few authors who are writing in Khasi. How many publications in Khasi do we have? How many books in Khasi do we have? Why are students not taking up MIL as Khasi and opting for alternative English? I place these questions to both of our educationists here, with Ma'am Padma, Shri first. Tell us this argument.
Well, when we talk about the standardization process, we have to remember there's just not spelling. The standardization of a language,
involves.
That was just an
it
example.
involves many stages, many processes. That is just one point,
Yeah.
spelling and all that. But if you look at the history of the Khasi language and how far it has journeyed, and the kinds of books, as I have said from the very beginning, now there are thousands of books in different fields. We have experts also, like from the field of environment, from geography, from economics, from life science. They have all contributed immensely into the Khasi, into Khasi language. And the point about spelling, it has been standardized to a very great extent. There are just a few things that need to be codified.
How many Khasi words are being added in every year, ma'am? When we take the English dictionary, 500 to 600 words are every year being added.
Yes, there are a number of words which are being added to the Khasi language every year. And there are different processes by which these words will come into the Khasi language, because some of them are borrowed from other languages, like in many other languages. For example, English also, for that matter, it has borrowed extensively, more than, I think, 40%. We have borrowed from other languages.
Yes.
So there is nothing wrong with borrowing. And at the same time, you also have another process, which is coinage. We coin words that have come into the language, and the language is growing and growing and growing. And
just to add to Ma'am,
Yes.
you see, when we borrow words, we make it, we turn into Khasi, we make them Khasinized, no? So that it become really, it looks like a Khasi word. For instance, car computer. Why we call car computer? We will not call computer.
Okay.
We give a gender also against that word. If it is a noun, no? So that is how it become the part of parcel of the Khasi language.
yes, to make that a little bit clearer, we have certain principles for the spelling of words. We have the phonological principle, that is one of the bases for the spelling of words, and that has been done right from the very beginning, the inception of writing itself.
Okay. No,
And
yeah.
then on top of that, one more point that I want to make is that whenever that spelling, that borrowed word has come, as Sarah said just now, it has to follow the patterns, the phonological patterns of the Khasi language.
No, what I was saying is that why such a less enthusiasm to include more work? Whose job is it really? Which department's job is it? Is it the Northeastern Hill University, the departments of Khasi there perhaps? Whose job is it to enrich the language more? Sir, and why is there so much of reluctance amongst the youth? They speak also Khalish, right? I mean English and Khasi. They're not very, very proud of taking up the language also.
I think this is a problem which is not faced only by the Khasi language. In fact, David Crystal has mentioned it in his writing that day will come when even the original words will be lost because of the use of the what's called the use of this technological language, no, SMS and all that. So because of that, there is a tendency to borrow a lot from other languages.
Okay.
I was surprised that even in Kerala, Malayalam also is facing this problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is not a problem only
Concentrated to
here.
here. Okay. Quick word from
But-
you, Raphael.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
No, you will see even in other languages, you will see when they write in Devanagari or whatever letter they have. In between, there are some technical words which cannot be translated in that. So it's the same for Khasi language also.
Okay. Now, I want to look at it. Is there a bias right now, or the lack of political will? Because in 2004, Bodo, Dogri, Santhali, Maithili got included. Why was Khasi left out? Because this demand for it, was there even for a long time now.
No,
Why Khasi? Yeah. Does it mean that there is a bias in the recognition, really?
I think Awardee will go into the history. The inclusion of Khasi language first came in the discussion of the Sahitya Academy in 1973, when late Professor R.S. Lindo was the member.
Right.
Then there was a meeting to take up for the recognition of Khasi, Nepali and Konkani. That meeting took place in 1974 in December in Mumbai. Unfortunately, late Professor Lindo could not attend that meeting because he was a speaker here. There was, I think, the winter session in Shillong. He could not attend that.
Okay.
And there the decision was taken that this will be recognized as the language of the Sahitya Academy, literary language. So when it is recognized as literary language, it becomes easier for the language to go into the age schedule. But even that took up to 1994. So you have to keep that in mind. It's a long process.
Right.
Because it's not an easy step to be recognized in the age schedule. There's a lot of things.
So do you mean to say that we need to be more patient then why?
It's not patience.
Yes.
It is political will also is very
Exactly,
important.
that is what I want to bring in. Mr. Robert here. Do you find there's a lack of political will? Supposing we would have had a national government, a BJP government here, maybe that would have been passed by now.
No, I will give you example of two languages in Northeast. How did they get into the section?
Okay.
Age schedule. Into the age schedule. We'll start with Manipur.
Right.
You see, how did Manipur language included? It's because of the people movement. There is hunger strike technically in front of the Indian gate, and the people who do the hunger strike were arrested, put in Delhi jail. That kind of movement, the Manipuri, they have go to the extent. And when it comes to 2004, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to Bodo, let's be very frank. Bodo was included because of the militant group surrender. And when they come and surrender, they put this as one of the conditions.
Okay.
So that's why during the rally in Delhi, organized by the Khasi Author Society, when I, at a point of time, still the president of the Union Tribal Council, I have to make it very clear whether the government of India will respect the voice that comes from the street or the voice that comes from the jungle, or should respect the legitimate voice that comes from a legislative assembly in a democratic setup. Can you imagine if the other voice, I don't condemn what the Bodo is doing, what the Manipuri is doing, but I do feel that in a democratic setup, the voice that comes from a legislative assembly is more powerful voice. But we are surprised to see that the government of India till date has not give that due recognition, and I do feel that this proof of the lack of political will on the part of the present dispensation, because before NDA came to powers, I think before NDA came to power, before the state legislative assembly has not passed a resolution. The resolution was passed in 2018. So from 2018 onward is NDA. So let's hope that this just demand of the people of Khasi Jandihil will finally reach into the ears, and let's hope that the present government will consider it.
We have been hopeful for quite some time now, actually, right? I mean, 52 years and we have been hopeful. It's time now for our hopes actually are diminishing day by day, because it is time now for it to be included. Ma'am, you and many others have gone to Delhi. You all met the, memorandum was given to the Home Minister, to the Prime Minister, to the President also. There was a seminar held. So much of activity happened. What happened since then? Do you think that such agitation or such kind of demand it slows down. It is by fits and starts also.
It's not by fits and starts, it's going on.
Okay.
As I told you, when we came back from Delhi, we met the chief minister. See, the thing is that it is good that they have passed the resolution by the legislature. That's a very good step. But I think what is more important, as I said before, why the state government has not decided to upgrade the language from an associate official language to an official language status.
Yeah, so why do you think that has not happened, sir?
You see, for that to happen, I think the state government has to convince first the bureaucracy, because many of these bureaucrats who come, they are not from local. You must remember, once it's recognized as an official language, when I walk into secretariat, I talk in Khasi. The other side has to also understand Khasi. So for this, the state also has taken some initiative. In fact, they used to call, when the new IAS are recruited for Meghalaya, they used to call some experts to go and enlighten on the Khasi language, on the culture, and all that. The state has taken a step, but we need like this book, this book organization has started the teaching of the Khasi language for non-local. So that is a good step. So that initiative has to be taken largely by some organization, so that this become a language that is popularized among. Though Khasi today is spoken, you go to Udo, everyone speaks Khasi. But even that.
But there are different dialects also. I just wanted to understand why are there different dialects? Like what the Shillong people speak, I mean, maybe the Sora people speaks it a little different.
No, that's different. They all understand that.
But it is written in the Sora.
But the official one is Chera.
If we can react to this, you see, the language situation is the same all over the world. Whether it's in England, whether it's in America, whether it's anywhere, there will be one standard form or one standard language, and there will be many non-standard varieties or dialects. And dialects also can be regional dialects, they can also be social dialects. You must remember that, even caste dialects also. See, so dialects are always there, but there is just one form, that there is one particular variety that has been selected to be the standard variety.
Alright, so dear viewers, you've heard the discussion so far. Well, it's getting very heated up, very engaging. We have so much more on the other side. We are just going on for a short commercial break, and we will be right back. So stay tuned. Welcome back, dear viewers. Well, as I said, that this topic, this discussion today is generating a lot of heat. Everybody is speaking their mind. As I said, those late tuners especially, the topic today is why Khasi language has remained unrecognized. Let us take the discussion forward as I address the next few questions to our panelists.
And in the case of Khasi, standard Khasi has already been there from 1841-42. And it has been accepted because that is one of the processes of standardization. Its acceptance by the other members, by speakers of other dialects. Right. To come back to your question, because I feel that I should say something about 2 points actually. Right. One is that whether or not if we have a government here as the government in Delhi, We had that actually in the
Yeah,
past.
We have had
There was a
for
Congress
decades.
government in Delhi, there was a Congress government here in the state.
That has not gone through.
Okay.
So that's
That's one point.
So do you think
And
there's some
another
kind of
point regarding
understanding
regarding
Yeah.
bureaucrats, we understand that is a problem because if people walk up from outside, they have to learn the language. But if that can be done in Mizoram, I fail to understand why it cannot be done
Yes,
here.
you remember when the government of Mizoram objected to the appointment of Chief Secretary, they clearly say that we don't want this person because he don't know Mizo.
But I really want
and,
more and more
that's-
people
that's-
from here to become bureaucrats,
if,
really,
if,
pass the
you look at
UPSC
the,
also.
if you look at the earlier notification, I will give you an example of SBI. SBI. When they do recruitment, they put the preferential will be given to the particular candidate who know the local language because at the end of the day, they have to communicate with so many people at the branch level who doesn't know English and Hindi. So, if SBI
But
could
we
do
also
it,
need to
if
have
SBI
bureaucrats
could do it, so
who
why
pass
not
the
why not the
UPSC
state
also.
cannot do
No,
it?
they all
Yes.
surpass the
Yes.
UPSC even in Mizoram also because there are IS officers there. But the point is that
Ours last was 2013, I think. We didn't have
that is
Yeah.
beside the point. But the point is that it doesn't matter from wherever part of the country.
But they should be able to learn the
should
language
learn
and
the
write the
language.
language.
I do
Exactly.
feel I do feel that it's not necessary that the moment you raise Khasi language and Garo language in official that we no longer should use English. It doesn't mean that.
Okay.
It's depend on how do we put these three languages in the same page altogether.
Okay.
As of now, English number one, Khasi and Garo number two. Why don't we raise to number one? All three.
Fine.
Look at the parliament. One debate in English, one debate in Hindi.
Different languages also.
So, what is the big deal if in assembly one would debate English, another would debate in Garo, another would
Yeah,
debate
yeah.
in
I think there's some technology, Raphael, that
Yes,
needs
there
to
is
be used.
technology. If parliament could do
translation,
it, so many
You have to engage interpreter.
Yes.
You have to engage interpreter.
Yes.
And that is the the lookout of the speaker.
Right,
The speaker has to
So that can actually
It's
be
Yeah,
doable.
they can.
It's
Yeah.
doable.
No, now
Again,
if
the
Google
political
could
bit.
easily translate that, why did the state government couldn't
Yes.
have it?
Exactly.
No,
But then
there
have
is
you-
one
yeah.
point. No,
Okay.
when Khasi was recognized as it's called associate official language, I remember late W.R. Lifelong, we went to the political department to frame the rules, how this language can be used.
Okay.
But those rules are not framed properly. Those rules must
Very
come out.
restricted,
No?
yeah.
It has to
Very
come up
limited.
with the rules and where can this language can be used.
So why can't it be done all over again now?
That is
That is the thing that needs to be taken up.
Okay,
It needs
that
to
is
be
what,
taken
so
up.
that's what I'm saying, that we, the people from here also needs to be a little bit
Absolutely.
more proactive.
Yes,
Right,
I'll
yeah.
give you another example.
Yeah.
You can download from any bill from. I will give you example of a South Indian state. If you download any bill introduced in the assembly, first of all you will see that they will write in the own dialect, in the own language, and then you will have an English part of it, of a bill of a notification. Why don't we do it here?
You can do it.
That's why I do feel that the government of Meghalaya has done its part when it comes to passing of the resolution, but more need to be done.
Okay.
More need to be done.
Because we are losing out in so many aspects, right? So I mean, in the competitive exam, look at our youth. Yeah, tell us where are we actually losing out, sir, from you.
yeah. See,
I will come to Raphael soon.
we are losing out. You see, well, for instance, before. The people from Meghalaya used to get these to clear UPSC, IAS and all. You go to any state, they will recognize us for this. But then you see with reservation changing, so for instance, there are the communities now who were recognized as scheduled tribe. So then this number become less and less
Okay.
because even to pass UPSC, you need certain marks, to be considered to go.
Quick views from you, ma'am. Where are we falling back actually because of the non-inclusion?
It's not because of non-inclusion. I don't believe in that.
Okay.
It's because of our preparation. I think I'll just if you allow me, I'll quote Mr. Cyril Dingdo.
Please.
He said, even if you get recognized in the Khasi language,
Okay.
still for the material to study, you need to study in English.
Absolutely.
See.
If I can just put a few more points, because I think the time is.
Yeah, it's okay. We still have.
And the thing is that you see, why do we need to have our language included under the institute? There are certain points, there are certain advantages. The first one, of course, as we all know, that Hindi is actually the main focus, even in the Constitution of India. And one of the things is that we also have the Official Language Commission. where the chairman is selected by the President of India. And of course, you have the members who are representatives of the scheduled languages, where they take very important decisions. Now, to be able to be a part of the commission, if our language has been included under the 8th schedule, definitely we will have representatives also in the commission, which will take up the case of Khasi language to develop it not only in terms of its status, but also in terms of its purpose. Second point is that these languages actually, Hindi draws its lexical resources also from these scheduled languages. Just think about it. If Khasi language is included under the 8th schedule, there are so many things that can come from Khasi language into Hindi. The concepts, because language expresses all these things, the concepts, the worldview, the indigenous knowledge systems, all these are very, very important. We talk about, the technology of the living root bridges. We talk about the sacred grove of Mawfla. All those things also, they find a place in Delhi, in Hindi, and in such a way they propagate, the importance of
absolutely, we can
I think
enrich each other.
one point that we need to understand properly. We are not demanding Khasi language to be included in the 8th schedule so that we will not speak any other language. No, that is not the case. We just want our language to be a part into a portion that we deserve.
Absolutely.
And the moment we do that, I can choose to learn Khasi plus whatever language which I want to learn. So this is important. Since the government of India, there is a provision that you can include languages. Our language also has more than just qualifying. It's more than just qualified. So put our language in the place that we deserve.
Absolutely. And there's one more point also regarding the advantages. We have already talked about this. We have already talked about the importance of, the advantages. What we need is a level playing field for all the people, and especially people from our state, because our state now actually has, till now, nothing has been done. And of course, we know that English is important. It is a global language, and I'm very proud of so many of our students who are so good in English. They articulate so well all the whatever opinions they have and whatever. But think about it. That is a very small percentage of the entire population. Think about our students who are in the rural areas, who study in institutions, schools, and colleges, which do not have the facilities. That students
they are also losing out.
Yeah, they're losing out. They're losing out. I've come across some very brilliant, bright students. I'm sorry I'm taking up so much of your time.
No.
But just one more point, really, because this is very, very important. They are bright students. In my experiences in looking after schools, and in my experience also as a university teacher and interacting with colleges, going for inspection to different colleges in the rural areas, we have come across this. We have very bright students. But you only handicapped is language. So should that be the handicap that should continue? Or should something be done about it?
Absolutely.
Take the example of All India Radio. Okay, there are so many good producers, but they could not get into All India radios because of the language. Because Khasi is not a scheduled language, they have to appear in Hindi. So that is the difficulty. So
and likewise for many other examinations
I think ma'am has concluded that the moment we reach the Khasi language in the schedule, we will be at a level playing field.
Absolutely.
We don't want to be more than others. Let's put us at equal. So we will be able to compete with others.
Yeah, because I had a specific question for Raphael Warjri actually. Raphael, you're in the creative world. Do you think that you are also missing out from the creative world because certain awards, that is given only for one language, one film in a year, national, in the national film category of awards. And there's so much of competition in that, right? And not every year, we have, good films here, we have good filmmakers here. Do you see that also as a problem? Because you are from the creative world too.
No, I don't think so, because it's all for all languages. It has a different category, including Khasi. So in the film, National Film Festival, there is one particular slot which is exclusively for Khasi, for all Khasi.
Okay.
So it goes, it goes the same for all other films also.
Okay.
For all other languages.
Okay. Now, as we are almost wrapping up, now in whose court the ball lies? Is it here? People oriented, as you said.
In the corridor ball.
Yeah. So on the corridor.
In the state, I think the corridor ball needs to be familiarized and with so much of passion also. Because you see, like what they have also mentioned earlier, there is not much of enthusiasm or passion to promote and to push the language into that level. So this has to be there.
Okay.
So when the Korpo, I'm talking not only bureaucracy, even the cabinet, the ministers.
So I come quick concluding words from you, sir.
See, I will not, because the government will react what people demand.
Okay.
So now, so far only the Khasi Author Society has been the leading.
Okay.
Others should support this movement
Mm.
wholeheartedly.
You agree to that, ma'am?
I agree with that, but I also remember at the same time, we have to keep in mind that this is actually a political decision. It is by an act of parliament that things get done. Actually, for the inclusion under the 8th schedule, there has to be an amendment to the 8th schedule whenever a new language is included. So that is very, very important. I know that the state government has a very important role to play in putting pressure to the central government. But also, we must remember that it all happens only on the floor of parliament. At the moment, we have only 3 members of parliament, 2 in the Lok Sabha and 1 in the Rajya Sabha. Numerically, maybe you will say that we are not very strong. But we have seen in the case of Konkani, we have seen in the case
But
of
what about the Manipur?
yeah,
That cannot be
Bodo
explained.
also, what
Yeah.
what happens is that
Mm.
the representatives will have to work very hard, lobby really hard in order to be able to get the support of all the members of parliament in order for this aspiration to be realized.
Yeah.
And I hope sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So yes, I was just coming to you only. You have taken up so many issues. I mean, you means, the pressure groups, right? You all have come to the streets, peaceful demonstrations also you have done. Sometimes it goes a little out of hand. But I'm not saying that you take things out of hand, but why can't pressure groups also now come and play a role here? Because as Sir said, that it should be a people's demand. Why don't you read it?
If we go to the history,
Mm.
as far as inclusion of Khasi language into the schedule, all the pressure groups are supporting Khasi Author Society. All the pressure groups.
Yeah, we have that rally.
We
have
have so
that
many
rally,
pressure groups is going to the
Should it be a sustained one? Because you
Yes,
do it once and then it's
and
forgotten
you
again.
cannot see that that the demand for the Khasi languages is not sustaining.
Okay.
It is very much alive.
Mm.
It is very much alive. And as far as in which court the ball or whose responsibility now,
Mm.
I do feel that as far as inclusion into the schedule, it will be totally a domain of the parliament. Our 3 MP, one from Khasi Hill and Garo Hill, and the Rajya Sabha MP, they need to do lobbying. I think they need to take more steps than just speaking a few minutes in the floor house.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at Manipur, they have 2 MP, just like we do. Bodo also. So let's not believe that because we do not have the number,
Yeah.
we will take an excuse
So
of not
that means we
including.
need
I
a
think
little
we
bit
need
more
to
vigorous
do,
movements.
we need to do more than just speaking a few minutes in the assembly. Pala has spoken, Kong Wansuk has spoken, Agatha has spoken, Dr. Ki now has spoken. But as leader, we need to do more than that, I do feel. And when it comes to the second thing, which we need to raise the Khasi language into the state, I think the ball lies in the government. The demand is already there. I support the demand of the Khasi Author Society. I do feel that the government need to think how to bring these 2 languages as an official language into the state, not as a language who will replace English, maybe. But how did we go along together? How did we are in the same in the same portion? And last but not the least, I do feel that language is a living entity. You cannot say that language will reach into the climate. Language will keep on growing.
Absolutely.
We need to protect, we need to preserve, we need to promote. I do feel when it comes to that aspect, we all as Khasi, who claim ourselves of Khasi, need to shoulder that. We just cannot say that we will put our language into the schedule, and the moment we do that, everybody will not stop taking Khasi in classes. That will not make any sense. So when it comes to protecting and promoting, we have to shoulder in each and every one of us, and let the parliamentarian do his job, let the legislature do its job, and we as people also, we have to do our own job.
And talking about parliamentarians, recently, of course, there was a very significant, move and statement made that there are 38 languages that are lined up, including Khasi and Garo, to be included. So do you think it's just a matter of time now before it gets
I
included.
think
Because
that-
let's
I
end
think
on
in
a
the
hopeful.
38 Garos
hopeful-
out there.
No,
in the
38
Yeah.
languages,
Yeah.
this was from 2006, that
Yes.
has not been revised.
Okay.
It's
That's why I
been
was
there.
also wondering why since 2004 actually
Yeah.
no other language got included. That is also another point to be taken care of.
2004.
Yeah, last was
Yeah, last was
2004.
2004.
Yeah,
Mahili
yeah.
and all that.
Yes, yes, exactly. So
No,
how?
but the problem that we have in our Indian constitution is, take for instance, Sindhi, it doesn't have a real population, it doesn't have a geographical area. It's spoken I don't know where, but it's recognized in the schedule.
But the powers in the helm of affairs in Delhi said that it is in active consideration.
Yes.
Now,
So are we
I mean,
hopeful
like,
therefore?
yes, they say that in active consideration. Now we have a government who always want to push for one for everything, including one language for nation. So that's why it's not going to be an easy task for we who demanding this issue, because we now have a government who think one should for everything. One culture, one this, one that, one that.
Okay.
So,
So the
it is not
effort
going to
should
be-
continue.
effort
The effort
be
should
continued.
continue. Discussions like this, which brings into
Yes,
limelight
yes.
again, these should continue. It is happening in colleges, in seminar
Yes.
level, in discussions, panel discussions also. So do we end in a hopeful note that one of these days soon, perhaps we will be surprised and suddenly we get included in the schedule. Yes,
that's
right.
very
Right.
good.
That's why we are fighting
We
for.
hope and we
I think
fight
that
for
we-
that.
we have
will
to
not have
reiterate,
people who
you know,
will fight for something without hoping that it will not
Yes.
win it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to
We always
constantly
believe-
reiterate to convince the political
But the pressure
department.
should be continuous also.
Yes, yes.
That is what I
But I
say.
think
It's
it's
not
not
just.
if I can just agree with one
Yeah.
more statement, as it's actually a repetition of what I had said. It is important also that we get the language, included under the age schedule. That is very, very
Right.
important. But it's equally important also that within the state, the status of the language has to be upgraded.
Upgraded. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So on that note, I think we have covered as much as possible within this almost 1 hour of this discussion today. I would like to thank each one of you for coming to the studios of the Shillong Times and enlightening us so much about this. And yes, the viewers who are watching this program, I'm sure that you also found this topic today pretty interesting, and you can leave your comments and your thoughts behind also. What we understand is that each of our panelists have spoken their mind. Yes, the Khasi language fulfills the criteria. They said there is maybe an aspect of lack of political will, and above all, out here in the state also, it needs to be, Khasi should be a language that is there in the assembly also. Just not an associate language, but an official language. We need to begin from here, and as ma'am also said, that not only we shouldn't just rest by including it in the age schedule, but then also making it a part and parcel of all the people of the state. Thank you so much for watching this program today, and once again thanks to all of our guests for coming and debating once again this topic of why Khasi language has remained unrecognized. Until next time, from all of us here, it's goodbye.